Late last night, I woke up to the sound of someone crying. It was an eerie sound and surprisingly loud as well. All through, I wanted to get up and go check it out. I was a bit scared and tired, so I ignored it by hiding under the covers. Today at breakfast, I told my roommate about it. That was me, she replied, with a tone of fear in her voice. What a relief, I thought. I was crying because I saw a thing watching you while you were asleep. I was video chatting and dropped my phone on the floor. As I picked it up, my husband's face changed. He held his hands to his lips as if saying, "Be quiet," and to my horror, he wrote, "There's a man under your bed." A few months ago, a friend of mine who is an upcoming nature photographer decided to spend a day and a night alone in the woods outside of our town. She wanted to get photos of the woods and wildlife as naturally as she could for her portfolio. She wasn't afraid of being alone, as she had camped by herself many times before. She set up a tent in the middle of a small clearing and spent the day taking pictures. She filled up 4 rolls of film on the trip, but something was strange about them. She saw in every one of those pictures he stayed with her ever since, and she is still trying to recover from the trauma they have caused her. Almost every picture was accounted for, save for one picture in a roll of film. These pictures were of her asleep in a tent in the middle of the night. Tired of causing pain to those around him, Peter jumped from the rooftop in a bid to end his own life. He soon found himself on the sidewalk below, still very much alive, with the crushed body of a little girl beneath him. When the worker scanned my ticket, the machine beeped and blared piercingly. "Sir, I believe there's an error on your ticket. The confirmation number doesn't match with our flights. Could you please wait to the side?" As the last passenger walked through the gate, a carrier delivered a manila folder. The worker paged through quickly and found what he was looking for. Just as I suspected, there was a clerical error. It happens more often than you would think. I apologize for this mistake, the worker explained as he ripped the ticket in half and bright light had blinded me. I closed my eyes, and when I opened them, I was in a hospital bed surrounded by doctors and nurses that seemed relieved that I was awake. It only lasted a few seconds as the sound of a machine beeped and blared piercingly from the bed next to mine. The Pills by Reddit user K75 and my husband had been a good since I got sick. My doctors were really stumped at first, but we figured it out. The doctors described me a medicine to take every 6 hours. It's supposed to help me with pain. My husband is an excellent nurse at first. I hated to have him do it. My illness was turning me into a person I didn't recognize. Moody, temperatural, and very impatient. But my husband really kept me cute in my aisles. But my symptoms worsened. My nose message with the doctor, but no one responded. I started developing bruises and my stomach was always upset. The doctor apparently thought this could be solved by an increase in medicine, so I began taking it every 4 hours. I smiled painfully at my husband, thanking him for his devotion in swallowing the pill. He ran a gentle hand through my hair, and its fistful of hair had come out along with it. I cried and cried, but I really just needed to be alone. I sent my husband to the store a few minutes after he left. I realized I needed to take a dose. Nobody climbed out of bed and made it to the medicine cabinet. There were my little blue pills scattered loosely around the cabinet. I grabbed the pill bottle and unscrewed the cap so I could dump them back in. My pills were white. My daughter won't stop crying and screaming in the middle of the night. I visit her grave and ask her to stop, but it doesn't help. After being forced to starve and live naked in the woods for years, my wife and I finally found the courage to steal some food from the man who had been torturing us. I felt my heart sink as a thundering voice shook the earth, saying, "Adam, what have you done?" My grandmother told me that it was a gift to see the angel of death in front of people's houses, to know that he'd be collecting someone there soon. I thought it was a gift too, up until the day I began to see it in front of every house. She didn't hesitate dropping her 5-year-old from that bridge into the unforgiving rocks some 80 feet below. She was perfect. So is her husband. Having an ugly son is unacceptable. Her husband was devastated while she did a lot of faking. A year passed and she gave birth to another, but this time it was a beautiful baby girl. He was once again satisfied, and at last she too. Some 5 years later, she had a walk with her daughter in that familiar bridge midway through. Her daughter hugged her very tightly. "What's wrong, sweetie?" she asked. Her daughter replied with a whimper, "I'm scared. So scared. I love you, Mommy. I've always loved you. Oh, I love you too, sweetheart. But what are you afraid of?" "I'm afraid you'll drop me off this bridge again."
Subscribe for more content like this.